Thanks, Jeff. If you think about it, words matter. You know, all the words, I mean, it was really quiet in here, and all the words that were being popped up on the screen, words matter, don't they? What we have to say to each other, the words that we speak to each other, how we speak our words to each other, words matter. When I was about in 5th, 6th grade, I used to love to sing in the little choir that we had at church. We always had the Sunday school kids get together. And those of you that grew up in a Christian Reformed church back some years ago, you know, we always had Sunday morning, Sunday night. You had youth group, and we had catechism during the week on Wednesday night. Well, it was at catechism classes that we would always start catechism class with choir time. I used to love to sing. But I was also maybe what some might call a precocious little boy. I think precocious would be the word. Ants in my pants. You know, couldn't stay very long in one place. Well, my sister's friend, Diane, was the choir director. She was 17, 18. I was just around 11, 12. I always really respected her. But I was being pretty precocious, pretty bothersome in the back of the choir with a few other boys. And she said, instead of telling me to calm down, she said something about, "Oh, Greg, just be quiet. You can't sing anyway." Words matter, don't they? Words matter. I've had a few prime timers tell me I should get up and lead the songs during the offering time, and I still hear those words from when I was 11 years old. So I say, no, I don't want to lead the singing during the offering time. We'll have praise band people lead the singing. Words matter. I wonder how many of you actually maybe had an argument or discussion with your mom or dad, or maybe you've had it with your own kids. I know I've gone both ways, to my dad, and I also heard it from my kids, that words don't matter. That really, if I use a 4-letter swear word, it really doesn't matter, does it? Because what is that word? You know, if you say the 4-letter word that an animal does, what does it matter? It's just an animal does it, so why can't we say the word? That the word doesn't really matter, does it? Three weeks ago, we had the shooting down in Arizona with 6 individuals who died, and a horrendously awful situation. I saw a special on the John Lochner. Is that how you say his name? Is that right? I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. And the special talked about the fact that as a young boy in his high school years and then hit college years, he started having struggles emotionally, but he started talking about the fact that words had no meaning. And one of his friends was on the special, and the friend talked about the fact that John started to say, well, is this really a cup? No, this isn't a cup. This could be a window. This could be a door. Just because we call this a cup doesn't make it a cup. That words don't matter. The reality is words do matter. Words matter a lot. There's the phrase, we've all grown up with the phrase, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. But what really happens? You know, we all break our bones and the bones heal. But those words that we hear from somebody else, cutting words, words which put us down, words which harm us, those words tend to engrave themselves within our hearts and our lives. That phrase is totally wrong. Sticks and stones may break our bones, but those bones heal. But the words are the ones that harm us. The words are those things that stay with us throughout our entire life. Well, we're spending 10 weeks looking at some of God's words. Some of God's words which are vitally important. We call them the 10 Commandments. Some people call them the 10 Words of God. Last week I brought up the idea that to be on the same foot or the same foundation, we need to all in some respects be in agreement about who God is. Because see, if we don't start at the same starting point, how do we get to the same ending point? Some of those ideas were that God is omniscient, meaning all-knowing. God is omnipresent, meaning God is everywhere. God is omnipotent, meaning all-powerful. God is immutable, meaning He never changes. I am the same yesterday, today, and forever. God is... The one I forgot last week or didn't bring up, somebody as they walked out said, oh, PG, you forgot the fact that God is all-loving. God is all-loving. These are some of the aspects within our lives that we need to realize that God is all-personal. He wants to have that personal relationship with us. So that's a great starting point for us. But there's also another starting point we need to look at. And that's the fact of how do we see the world? How do we see the world? We're going to go to 2 more slides down, then we're going to back up to these 2, okay, Hank? Our worldview. There's basically 2 different ways to see the world. The one way that we look at the world is sort of, I want to just call it model number 1. That truth is defined by each individual by themselves. And it's subjective and it's situational. Truth is only known by choosing to believe. Some people would call this first model, the first idea, is situational ethics. That it might be wrong for me to do something, but it might be okay for you to do that same thing. Such as, I think, for all of us here, we would say that cannibalism is wrong, right? I mean, all would agree? Cannibalism is wrong? Anybody raise their hand and say cannibalism is right? If you do, we're not going to be eating your chili next week. Ooh, that's pretty bad, huh? Yeah, the movie, Fried Green Tomatoes. That's what that movie was all about. So, right there, you see. Okay, so we can say here in America that cannibalism is wrong. Some cultures within Africa, within their past, have said that cannibalism is right. Situational ethics. The problem is when we look at this and when we believe this and accept this worldview as truth within our life, then there really is no truth. Then it's whatever is good for me, and whatever is good for you is good for you. And we will have problems when our 2 ideals conflict with each other. You follow me with that? Went over this Wednesday night with some of the sermon study people, and most got it. A few sort of had a hard time understanding this concept. The idea of situational ethics. The one worldview is whatever I see as right for myself is what is right. But the problem is, where's the foundation for that? Yourself? The second worldview is the worldview which I try, and I